Right, after all that hard work, and the final stage is to do a comparison of your value to an accepted value. So, compare to accepted value. Now what you've got to do is make sure that you put in a full reference. So for a website, if you just type something into Google, like example of a Harvard reference for a website, and then just replace the information on that example with where you got your information from, that's more than acceptable. You should really put a citation in where you quote the source, and then put this reference at the end of your lab diary. But it is also a lab diary, so it doesn't necessarily have an end. It would be fine to just cite it and kind of stick the reference somewhere nearby. But it does need to have a full reference in for the website that you got it from, or a book if you got it out of a book. So for the comparison itself, obviously comment on how close. Now bear in mind that your value of resistivity falls here, but you've got a plus or minus, there's a range. So does the accepted value fall in this? Or does it fall outside of that range? Is it particularly far away? Can you calculate a percentage difference between the two values? So between yours and the accepted value. It's worth sometimes calculating a percentage uncertainty in rho. Remember that delta rho over rho is the fractional uncertainty, or the relative, but multiply that by 100 and you've got a percentage uncertainty. So remember that anything which is less than 5% is good. Anything that's between sort of 5 and 10% is okay, it's acceptable. More than 10% is less good, less reliable. Again, it doesn't matter what you've got, just comment on it realistically. It might also be a good idea to compare the percentage uncertainty to the percentage difference. If you've got 10% difference, but your uncertainty is 11%, then that means the real answer is within your uncertainty, but you would possibly just comment that your uncertainty is a little bit on the large side. You don't need to write more than a few sentences here. It's most important just to compare it to an accepted value and do a few little simple numerical comparisons just to show it's not just it's about right. You've got to give something a little bit more quantitative than that. But it doesn't have to be too much. But what's really important is that you do reference where you get that information from.